You're in the Eye of the Morph, and you're watching a special Animorphs television movie on Nickelodeon.
Eye of the Morph? The fuck does that even mean? Well, it took them till the end of the show's run, but I guess even Nickelodeon gave up on making sense of this show. Once again, I must apologize for the quality of this video. You'll be forgiven if you mistake this for a Minecraft Let's Play. Well, we finally reached it. Changes, the 3-part series finale. This originally aired as a 90-minute TV movie and was edited into 3 separate episodes for when it was rerun. Now, based on my interview with His Highness Ron Oliver, who wrote and directed the finale, everyone knew going into this that this was going to be the finale. So this gave them a chance to do all the things they wanted to do with the series. And by that, I mean compress the rest of the season's scripts into an hour. Because that's what Changes feels like. It's a montage of subplots that were probably full episode scripts before the second season was cut short. As such, this isn't really a proper series finale so much as it is the rest of Season 2 in a Reader's Digest condensed book format. It's kind of a shame that no real risk was taken with the finale. You could have taken Animorphs into many interesting and serious directions, thrown out a lot of the past crap, and gave us one last final hurrah, one last stab at great storytelling. What's the worst that could happen? You'll get cancelled twice? But instead, we get all the good and bad ideas thrown into one pot, each one underdeveloped and leading to no real conclusion. Subplot number 1 begins with Jake and Marco infiltrating a science museum. Jake had gone on a field trip here earlier that day and saw something he believes to be a piece of Andalite technology.
Go ahead, take a look. That's the same writing that was on Elfangor's ship.
None of you guys ever got close to Elfangor's ship, and I'm pretty sure there weren't any giant letters on the side. It wasn't the Goodyear blimp that crashed in front of you, it was an alien fighter plane. Wouldn't it have been easier to say you recognize it as the same writing that is on Elfangor's disc? What, you don't remember writing on Elfangor's disc? Well, guess what? There is now, because they lost the original prop or something. Jake wants to know what this thing is, so he takes some photos and tries to steal it, only for the alarm to go off. Jake and Marco morph dog and rat and escape with the camera. They then cut to news footage showing that the security guard in charge has been fired. Animorphs, ruiners of lives everywhere. The story changes to that of a missing television producer, and we cut to Visser Three's lair, where the Yeerks are holding said television producer hostage. A stab at the show's creators, perhaps? Now this is one of those moments where the production team was clearly thinking. Eugene Lipinski left Animorphs after the first season, only appearing in Face Off Part 3 to write out his character. However, the production team realized, wait a minute, this doesn't have to be the end of Visser 3. He has morphing powers. This is the easiest recast since they came up with the concept of regeneration on Doctor Who. So Visser 3 acquires the producer and takes him as his new human host. The new Visser 3 is played by Tom Barnett. It's hard to judge how well he does in the role considering how little he's in the finale, but he does bring kind of a quiet, smiling, serial killer type menace to the role. It's interesting. I think it's a much more subtle performance for the character, but this is also completely out of line with what Lipinski brought to the role. This is not a different character. This is not a changed character. This is the exact same Visser 3 who had a conniption over Elfangor's disc. I still appreciate it in a what-if perspective, though. Still, they knew going into this that this was going to be the finale. And I don't mean this as a slight to Tom Burnett, but couldn't they have cut out like half the subplots here and spent the extra budget on some stunt casting? If this is the last time we'll see Visser 3, let him be played by someone awesome, like, Eartha Kitt. Don't tell me you wouldn't love to see Visser 3 played by Eartha Kitt.
I wanna be evil, I wanna be mad, but more than that, I wanna be bad.
There's one more issue with this Visser 3 stuff we have to address. Both times Visser 1 showed up, she threatens serious action should Visser 3 fail in his mission, and it gets to the point where she threatens execution. Now, Visser 3 has not only failed to completely conquer Earth, defeat the Andalite bandits, or unlock Elfangor's disc, the Yeerk pool was completely destroyed under his watch. How is his head not on a chopping block right now? Subplot 2 begins with Rachel and Cassie walking around school talking about the school dance. Yes, this is a show with teenagers in it, so there had to be a school dance episode. Rachel's pretty insistent on Cassie and Jake going together, because they're a couple in the books, and we kind of forgot about that for the TV show. This cuts to Tobias window shopping at the mall when he stumbles upon subplot number 3, mysterious graffiti of a hawk and a couple of symbols that look like the ones on Elfangor's disc, because they lost the original prop. It turns out Tobias is wearing the disc like a pendant, which is probably a worse idea than Jake keeping it in his pocket. How does he even morph with that thing? So for some reason, the Animorphs seem to have tossed away the disc holder, despite the fact that the holder seemed to be the most important part of this whole thing. It's the thing Tobias was touching when he regained his morphing powers, it's the part that projected the Elfangor hologram, and it's the part Rachel touched to acquire the DNA of a Yeerk. Maybe it stopped doing those things after it, but it seems like that's the one part you most definitely don't want to lose. I'd say it was lost with the original disc prop, but, well, you'll see that's not true in part 3. Jake and Mark are at the cyber cafe, looking at pictures they took and speculating on what the thing at the museum might be. Axe shows up and identifies it as an Andalite toilet. Haha, it's a joke, moving on. Okay, why didn't they show these pictures to Axe in the first place instead of trying to figure out themselves? Or, better question, why didn't they just take Axe to the museum while it was open? That way you don't risk getting caught breaking into the place, and you don't get an innocent security guard fired, you jerks. Cassie and Rachel show up. They were shopping for dresses for the dance, but Cassie got kicked out of a store when she started a rant about animal testing by cosmetic companies. So the most book-accurate Cassie moment happened off-screen? I am okay with that. Cassie brings up subplot number 4. It turns out there's a cosmetic company in town called January Rose, and Cassie wants to break out all the animals. She doesn't say what she wants to do with the animals afterwards, just, break them out. Probably set them loose on the streets and watch they terrorize playgrounds and nursing homes. Jake shoots the idea down, saying it's too risky, and not at all involved with the Yeerks, and Cassie storms off.
See what you did?
It was hard enough for me to even get her near a makeup counter. The least you can do is be a little understanding.
Yeah, Jake. About what?
Duh! About the school dance?
How was any of this about the school dance?
Yeah, what he said. Still, Rachel manages to guilt Jake, and he figures that if he asks Cassie out to the dance and helps her break out the animals, then he's almost certain to get laid. So he goes to the barn and asks her out, and they make plans to break into January Rose, and there's a monkey, because why not? Oh, I didn't know Shemp Howard got into cosmetics. Jake and Cassie are smuggled into Shempco in Monkey Morph. No, I don't know how they managed that. Cassie escapes her cage and demorphs, but Jake has completely lost control to the monkey's instincts. Yes, the first time this has happened in Annie TV, and it's in the finale. You need to establish the instinct thing as early as possible. It adds risk to morphing, so that every time one of the characters morphs, it's a serious action. 2 people in lab coats show up and take Jake's cage. At first, it seems like they're going to experiment on him, but Cassie follows them as they load him into a truck, and we discover that these 2 people are actually animal rights activists stealing the test animals. Well, ain't that a coinky-dink? The activists drive to some January Rose ribbon-cutting thing, starring Rose herself. The activists don't seem to have much of a plan, just kind of bouncing around and interrupting things, while security seems to focus almost exclusively on Cassie while she tries to break Jake out. Meanwhile, Tobias shows up at Rachel's house while she's doing her best Minnie Mouse impression, and Rachel asks if he's bought his tuxedo for the dance yet. Does Tobias even have money? Did someone lend him some for a tux rental? Where is he keeping it? It doesn't matter, though, because Tobias says he won't be going to the dance. Tobias won't say directly, but it's pretty clear that he's ashamed that he can't stay in human morph for longer than 2 hours. Rachel says she doesn't mind if they don't stay for the entire dance, just as long as he's there for part of it, but Tobias says he's sorry and flies away. Later, Marco calls Rachel. Seems the protest is on the news, and both of them see Cassie in the crowd and realize something's wrong. January Rose manages to finally get things under control, but that's when a badly green-screened-in bear shows up and scares away the reporters. Except for that security guard who's still more concerned about Cassie than anyone else. Marco ends up chasing him away in Wolf, German Shepherd morph. German Shepherd, the demon dog. Cassie breaks Jake out, Rachel escapes somehow, and Marco saves January Rose from getting hit by a car. The Animorphs regroup at the Cyber Cafe, and Cassie apologizes to everyone. She's the version of Cassie I like. We get a news report, because I guess everything is breaking news in this town. Seems January Rose was so touched by Marco saving her that she suspends all animal testing, so hooray, I guess. However, for some reason, Marco decided to stay in dog morph a while. He finds a spot in the woods to demorph, but that's when subplot number 5 rears its ugly head, because it just so happened a kid with a camera filmed the whole thing, so, done, I guess?